Old Tommy's Prayer. In a dark and dismal alley where the sunlight never came, lived a little lad named Tommy. He was sick, delicate, and lame. He had never yet been healthy, but had lain since he was born, dragging out his weak existence, almost hopeless and forlorn. He was 6, was little Tommy. It was just 5 years ago since his drunken mother dropped him, and the babe was crippled so. He had never known the comforts of a mother's tender care, but her cruel blows and curses made his pain still worse to bear. There he lay within the cellar from the morning till the night, starved, neglected, cursed, and ill-treated, not to make his dull life bright. Not a single friend to love him, and not a single thing to love, for he knew not of the Savior or the heavens up above. It was a quiet summer evening, and the alley too was still. Tommy's little heart was breaking, and he felt so lonely, till floating up the quiet alley, wafted inward from the street, came the sound of someone singing, sounding oh so clear and sweet. Eagerly did Tommy listen, as the singing nearer came. Oh, that he might see the singer, how he wished he weren't lame. Then he called and shouted loudly, till the singer heard the sound, and on tuning whence it issued, soon the little cripple found. It was a maiden, rough and rugged, hair unkempt and naked feet, all her garments torn and ragged, her appearance far from neat. "So yer calls me," said the maiden. "I wonder what's your wants with me. Most folks call me Singing Jessie. What may your name chance to be?" "My name's Tommy. I'm a cripple, and I want to hear you sing, for it makes me feel so happy. Sing me something, just anything." Jessie laughed and answered smiling, "Well, I can't stay here very long, but I'll sing a song to please you, what I calls a glory song." So she sang to him of heaven, pearly gates and streets of gold, where the happy angel children are not starved or nipped with cold, but where happiness and gladness never shall decrease or end, and where kind and loving Jesus is their sovereign and their friend. Oh, how Tommy's eyes did glisten as he drank in every word, as it came from Singing Jessie, but was it true what he had heard? And so anxiously he asked her, "Is there really such a place?" And a tear began to trickle down his pallid little face. "Why, Tommy, you're a little heathen. Why, it's up beyond the sky. And if you love your Savior, you'll go there when you die." Then said Tommy, "Tell me, Jessie, how can I the Savior love, when I'm down in this dark cellar and he's up in the heaven above?" So the little ragged maiden who had heard at Sunday school all about the way to heaven and the Christian's golden rule, taught the little crippled Tommy how to love and how to pray, sang to him a song of Jesus, kissed his cheek, and went away. Tommy lay within the cellar, which had grown so dark and cold, thinking all about the shining streets of gold. He heeded not to darkness of that damp and chilly room, for the joy in Tommy's bosom could disperse the deepest gloom. "Oh, if I could only see it," thought the cripple as he lay. "Jessie says that Jesus listens, so I think I'll try and pray." He put up his little hands and closed his little eyes, and in accents weak yet earnest sent this message to the sky. "Gentle Jesus, please forgive me, for I never knew before that you cared for little children that were very weak and poor. And I never heard of heaven till that Jessie came today, and she told me all about it, so I want to try and pray. You can see me, can't you, Jesus? Jessie told me that you could, and somehow I must believe it, for it seems so right and good. And she told me if I loved you, I should see you when I die, in that bright and happy heaven that is up beyond the sky. Lord, I'm only just a cripple, and I'm no use here below, for I heard my mother whisper she'd be glad if I could go. And I'm cold and hungry sometimes, and I'm also lonesome too. Can't you take me, gentle Jesus, up to heaven along with you? I'd be so good and patient, and I'd never cry or fret. And your kindness to me, Jesus, I would surely not forget. I would love you all I knew of and never make a noise. Can't you find me just a corner so I can watch the other boys? Oh, I know you'll do it, Jesus. Something seems to tell me so. For I feel so glad and happy, and I do so want to go. I long to see you, Jesus, and the children all so bright. I'll be waiting for you, Jesus. Come and take me home tonight. Tommy ceased his supplication. He had told his soul's desire, and he waited for an answer till his head began to tire. Then he turned towards his corner and lay huddled in a heap, closed his little eyes so gently, and was quickly fast asleep. Oh, I wish that every scoffer could have seen that childish face as he lay there in the corner in that damp and noiseless place. For his countenance was shining like an angel's fair and bright, and it seemed to fill that cellar with a holy heavenly light. He had only heard of heaven from a ragged singing girl. He might have wondered, pondered, till his head began to whirl. But he took it as she told it, and believed it then and there, simply trusting in the Savior and his kind and loving care. In the morning, when the mother came to wake her crippled boy, she discovered that his features were a look of sweetest joy. She shook him somewhat roughly, but his crippled face was cold. He had gone to join the angels in the streets of shining gold. Tommy's prayer had soon been answered, and the angel death had come to remove him from that cellar to his bright and heavenly home, where sweet joy, gladness, and comfort never shall decrease or end, and where Jesus reigns eternal, his sovereign and his friend. Turn it off. This is a psalm of life. Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream, for the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returneth, was not spoken of the soul. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end our way, but to act that each tomorrow finds us farther than today. Art is long and time is fleeting, and our hearts so stout and brave, still like muffled drums are beating funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb-driven cattle, be a hero in the strife. Trust no future, however pleasant, let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present, heart within and God o'erhead. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sand of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing o'er life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. This is Abu Ben Adam. Abu Ben Adam, may his tribe increase, awoke one night from a deep dream of peace, and saw within the moonlight in his room, making it rich and like a lily in bloom, an angel writing in a book of gold. Exceeding peace had made Ben Adam bold, and to the presence in the room he said, "What writest thou?" The angel raised its head, and with a look made of all sweet accord answered, "The names of those who love the Lord." "And is mine one?" said Abu. "Nay, not so," replied the angel. Abu spoke more lowly but cheerful still, and said, "I pray thee then write me as one who loves his fellow man." The angel wrote and vanished, and the next night it came again with a great wakening light, and showed the names of those whom the love of God had blessed, and lo, Ben Adam's name led all the rest. What did I say this was going to be? Okay, now we're going to hear the face on the barroom floor. It was a balmy summer evening, and a goodly crowd was there that well nigh filled Joe's barroom on the corner of the square. And as songs and witty laughter came through the open door, a vagabond crept slowly in and posed upon the floor. Where did it come from? Someone asked. The wind has blown it in. What does it want? Another asked. Some whiskey, rum, or gin? Seek him, Toby, if your stomach's equal to the work. I wouldn't touch him with a fork. He's dirty as a Turk. All this the stranger took with jovial good grace. In fact, he smiled as if he thought he'd struck the proper place. Now come, my boys, I know there's goodly hearts amongst so good a crowd. To be in such good company would make a deacon proud. Give me a drink, that's what I want. I'm out of funds, you know. When I had cash to treat the gang, this hand was never slow. What? You laugh as if you thought this pocket never held a sou? I once was fixed as well, my boys, as any one of you. There, that braced me nicely, God bless you one and all. Next time I pass this good saloon, I'll make another call. Give you a song? I can't do that, my singing days are o'er. My voice is cracked, my throat's worn out, and my lungs are going fast. But give me another whiskey and I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you a funny story and a fact, I promise too. That I was ever a decent guy, not one of you would think. But I was some 10 or 12 years back. Hey, give us another drink. Fill her up, Joe. I want to put some life into this frame. Such little drinks for a bum like me are miserably tame. 5 fingers, that's a scheme, and corking whiskey too. God bless you one and all, and landlord, good luck to you. You've treated me rather nicely, and I'd like to tell you how I came to be this dirty sot you see before you now. As I told you, once I was a man with muscle, frame, and health, and except for a blunder, should have made considerable wealth. I was a painter, not one that daubs on brick and wood, but an artist, and for my age considered rather good. I worked hard at the canvas and was bidding fair to rise, for gradually I saw the star of fame before my eyes. I painted a picture perhaps you've seen. 'Tis called The Chase of Fame. It brought me 1,500 pounds and added to my name. And then I met a woman, now comes the funny part, with eyes that petrified my soul and sank into my heart. Why don't you laugh? 'Tis funny that the bum you see should ever love a woman and expect her love for me. But it's true, and for a month or two her love was freely given, and when her loving lips touched mine it carried me to heaven. Boys, have you ever seen a girl for whom your soul you'd gladly give, with a form like Milo Venus too beautiful to live, with eyes that beat the Koh-i-Noor and a wealth of chestnut hair? If so, 'twas she, for there never was another half so fair. I was working on a portrait one afternoon in May of a fair-haired lad, a friend of mine that lived across the way, and Madeline admired it, and much to my surprise, said she'd like to meet the man that had such dreamy eyes. It didn't take long to know him, and before a month had gone, my friend had stolen my darling, and I was left alone. And ere a year of misery had passed above my head, the jewel that I had treasured so was tarnished and was dead. That's why I took to drink, boys, why you never saw me smile. I thought you'd be amused and laughing all the while. Come on, my friend, there's a teardrop in your eye. Come, laugh like me, it's only babes and women that should cry. But give me another whiskey and it really would make me glad, and I'll draw for you a picture of the face that drove me mad. Give me the chalk with which you keep the baseball score, and you shall see the lovely Madeline upon the barroom floor. With another drink and chalk in hand, the vagabond began to sketch a face that well might buy the soul of any man. And as he placed another lock upon the shapely head, with a fearful shriek, he leaped and fell across the picture dead. Fourscore and 7 years ago, our forefathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of this field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that this nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men living and dead who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather to be dedicated to the unfinished work which those who struggle here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is for us the living, rather to be dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. Blessings on thee, little man, barefoot boy with cheeks of tan, with thy turned-up pantaloons and thy merry whistle tunes, with thy red lips redder still, kissed by strawberries on the hill. From my heart I give thee joy, I was once a barefoot boy. Blessed thou art, the grown-up man, only as a publican. Let the $1,000,000 ride, barefoot trudging by his side. Thou hast more than he could buy, in the reach of ear or eye. Outward sunshine, inward joy, blessings on thee, barefoot boy. Once there was a little boy who wouldn't say his prayers, and he went to bed away upstairs. His mammy heard him holler, and his daddy heard him bawl, and when they turned the kivers down, he wasn't there at all. They seeked him in the cubbyhole, and they seeked him in the press. They seeked him in the attic, and everywhere, I guess. But all they ever found was his pants, and round about, and the goblins will get you if you don't watch out.
Okay.
This is the Raggedy Man. Oh, the Raggedy Man, he works for Paul, and he's the goodest man you ever saw. He comes to our house every day and waters the horses and feeds them hay. And he opens the shed and we all this laugh when he drives out our little old wobbly calf. Then if the hired man says he can, he milks a cow for Elizabeth Ann. Isn't he the kindest old Raggedy Man, Raggedy, Raggedy, Raggedy Man? Well, the Raggedy Man is this so good, he chops the kindling and splits the wood. And one day he climbed clean up in our apple tree and shook an apple down for me. Another one too for Elizabeth Ann, another one too for the Raggedy Man. Why, he's this the kindest old Raggedy Man, Raggedy, Raggedy, Raggedy Man.